All right, here's a difference quotient problem for you. And again, this is kind of the precursor to a derivative. So if you know what a derivative is, it's kind of nice because you can check your answer. And so just in general, remember what a function does. This is your input. And so over here, it's telling you that whatever your input is, whatever it looks like, you're going to take that input and you're going to cube it, and then you're going to add 2 times that same input. And when you do all that math, you're going to get an output. And so that's kind of how you have to view a function. So this input is x plus h. So that's what you're going to input into your function in both of the areas where you input. And then you're going to do the math. And on the difference quotient, I recommend doing the math for this guy first, and then going ahead and putting it all together. So I am going to figure out what f of x plus h is. So I'm going to shove this input over into this function. So I'm going to take my input and cube it, and then I'm going to take that same input and multiply it by 2. And again, that's how functions work. This is your input, and so I'm going to input that there and cube it, because that's what that says. Then I'm going to input it there and double it. All right, so let's do this math. Now I'm going to separate this into a squared, because I have 3 of them, with 1 extra, because obviously I'm going to distribute that out, or FOIL it, whatever you want to say, and then I'm going to have to multiply by that. And I'm going to go ahead and distribute that guy right now, just get it over with. So I've got to distribute. Okay, so this guy, I'm going to square the first term, double that, because I do enough of these that I know that's going to happen, and I'm going to square that guy. Then I have to distribute this over again and distribute the h over again. So what do I get? I get x cubed plus 2x squared h plus xh squared. And now I have to distribute the h. So that would be plus x squared h plus 2xh squared plus h cubed. And then I still have to write my previous stuff as well. Okay, so when I input this input into this function, and this function tells me to square it, or sorry, cube my input and then double it and then add that all together, this is the output to that situation. All right, so now I want to take that answer, okay, so that answer to that, subtract that, and divide by h. So I'm going to rewrite, and I don't know, I can't write very small, but I will try. So I'm just recopying my answer to that first function. All right, that's about the best I can do. And then I want to subtract f of x. So I want to subtract, and again, all of that function, which there's no math to do, because obviously if I input x and I cube it, input whatever you have and cube it and take it times 2, I get the same as what I started with, because this is f of x. All right, so I am going to go ahead and subtract, which means you're going to add the opposite. So, and some people just like to do that right away. You know, just subtract and make negative, but kind of depends on how many negatives you have in this, whether it's confusing or not. All right, and then I always go ahead and do the entire formula. If you think you're going to remember to divide by h at the end, highly unlikely, so at least for me it is. So just go ahead and write the original f of x plus h, which was all of that to there, and then we had minus this function, we distribute our negative and divide by h, and that's exactly what that original formula tells us to do. Okay, so the nice thing is things that have, I don't know, kind of like your original things should kind of go away here. So I have x cubed, negative, and I have 2x and negative 2x, and that should always happen. So I have a bunch of things with h's in them. All right, now it looks like some of these are going to combine like terms, so I'm going to do that first. I have 2x squared h, 2x squared h, so that's what, or no, sorry, that's not what I'm looking for. Where is it at? Maybe did I not write it right? X cubed plus 2x squared plus x. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I got off. Right there it is. Okay, those guys match. So I get 3x squared h, all right, so 2x squared h and another x squared h. And then I have 2x h squared, and this is another of that, so I have 3 of those. And then I don't think anything else is like terms. And again, all divided by my h. Okay, so at this point, you should have a bunch of stuff that is all divisible by h. And you could factor that h out, so, you know, take an h out, and over here, and then h divided by h is 1, or you can cancel them. Or you can just realize that if they're all divisible by h, you could just divide every single term by h. If they're not all divisible by h, yeah, that is not an option. All right, so if I divide or cancel, whichever way you want to do it, I get 3x squared plus 3xh plus h squared plus 2. And I'm going to put my numbers forward here, and then the things with h's I'm going to leave towards the end. All right, so let me go back and rewrite what was our original. It was just, what, x cubed plus 2x. Okay, so our original function was x cubed plus 2x. Now, I know derivatives, so I would take 3 times 1, which is 3x, and I would subtract 1 from that, so that's 2. And then here, I would take 1 times 2, which is 2, and subtract from that, which would be x to the 0 power, and anything to the 0 power is 1. So I know that this is the derivative. So if you look, if I set h to 0, then do you see how I match that same number? Now, if you're wise, you'll look and say, but you're dividing by 0. That would be totally illegal in math, and you are correct. So basically, it's kind of limit, like as h approaches 0, what does this equal? So, so you can kind of check your answer if you know how to do a derivative.